Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now. Yep.
Okay.
Let me move locations
How
real
are
quick.
you?
I'm doing good. I'm just chilling. I ain't mad.
Good, good, good. Well, thank you so much for
This is nice.
tuning in. Huh?
So you're able to do this. So this is up in your studio then. Wow, this is really nice.
No, this
Are
is
you,
at my
are
house.
you,
I came home to do this.
yeah, I know, but it's not a Zoom call, right? It's like in
No,
your
it's not
studio.
a Zoom call.
All right, that's cool. All right. Okay. All right. So what's thanks, sis. I hate the heat, man. And I'm so spoiled. Everything gets delivered to me. I don't like to go anywhere anymore. I go to the gym.
I mean, it's nothing wrong with it. I get it. It's Vegas is pretty hot. Like it's pretty hot here.
It's freaking hot. And no, it's not just hot, it's getting humid too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're coming into what the monsoon season.
Man, I done sweated enough my whole life. I ain't sweating no more. I
So
saw a sweat bead on my little baby's head. I sent them
I
all.
don't know. I walk from air
They got
conditioning
sand.
to air conditioning.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You work at the MGM. Yeah, I feel you. Okay, so how does this work? Do we just talk? You just ask me some questions. You ask me questions. What goes on?
I'm about to jump right on into it with you right here, right now. So, how far in tune are you with social media right now? Like, have you seen this McDonald's baby mama versus the baby daddy drama?
Well, of course, everyone has. You know that. Come on now. Of course I have.
So in your personal opinion,
Yeah,
was the father wrong for only bringing his son something to eat?
absolutely not. No, that's his baby. That's his responsibility. He's
So
not
what about
responsible
the
for
other three kids?
that. That's not his responsibility. They got fathers too. They got their own dads. And if she can't manage her money, that's her problem. How you not have enough money to manage? Okay, let me back up. I'm getting too excited. So I got two kids, right?
Right.
I support them 110,000%.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. I pay for their entire lives. I get it. I completely. I'm there right there. I understand. I know it's a struggle. I don't take no days off. As a matter of fact, I never even eat out. When I go to Panda Express at the university, they're like, "Who's with you?" It's either one of my babies, or I'm with you because I don't eat. I don't spend money on myself at all. I save all my money for my babies. So here's the thing: if you have kids, support them. That's your job. Now, if he brings food for the other kids because he's being nice, that's cool. But they're not his responsibility. He's only responsible for his own child. That's a no-brainer to me. That no-brainer.
So I guess for me, what stuck out in the video for me is the fact that it was the food stop thing for me, and I guess I wanted to just wonder what you think on this question that I have. Do you think that the government has broken up Black families?
Absolutely, yes.
Well, let's talk
I'm
about it.
sorry?
Why do you think that? What do you think that the government has done to directly affect Black families?
Okay, well, I'm getting a PhD in public policy, right?
I know what you're getting. The people don't know what you're getting. So tell us about your degree and what you're getting it in, and why you're getting your degree and what you're getting it in reference to the topic.
First of all, I haven't gotten it yet, but my focus is public policy because the way you structure things creates a certain outcome. Okay, for example, in Hungary, you get the most amount of tax breaks when you have 3 or more kids, and you're married. If you're married with 3 kids in Hungary, you get like the least taxes taken out of your check, and you get the most benefits. Also, When the woman has a child, everybody gets 90 days maternity leave, even the grandparents. So what do you think's happening in Hungary? Population boom. Population boom. Marriage skyrocket, population skyrocket, families up the kazoo. That's just structural, right? Okay, that's one example. Second example, in my culture of Samoa, the man is responsible for the bills 100%. Ain't nobody coming to help you, not even God or Allah. Allah's busy. He ain't got time for your sorry shit. So all the men in my family work 2 or 3 jobs. We don't take no days off. We don't sleep. We stress all the time. At the same token, it's an insult to ask a woman for help. So it ain't ever going to happen. As long as I get a cup of coffee, I'm straight. I got to get back out there. I don't know. Maybe I'm a tow truck driver. Maybe I bust tables. I mean, I'll figure it out. I ain't coming home broke though. I got kids to feed and nobody's going to come help me. Not even Allah. Allah's busy. Okay. So that's why in our culture, the women stay home and they just make all the food. I come inside the house. If I ask for a cup of coffee, it's not a rhetorical question. If I say, is there coffee? That means somebody give me a coffee. If I say, did you cook something? That means make me a plate. Okay. And I don't have to take my plate back either. I never had, even growing up, my mom cleaned my room. I started working when I was 12. It don't make no difference. But the point I'm trying to say is the structure of our culture creates certain outcomes. Okay. Now let me back up now. Let's talk about the Black community. Man, when you have a situation where you're applying for benefits, and if you have a man in the house that reduces your benefits, that is an abomination. Because that man, even if he doesn't work, that's sexist too. Even if a man doesn't work, he can still help take care of the kids. You shouldn't get gigged on it. There shouldn't be a penalty. And then also, and then they'll give you this. And then, by the way, the money they give you ain't shit. So you get TANF. You get $300 a month or whatever. I spit on that. If a woman has 2 or 3 kids and she needs TANF, you should give her $1,500 a month. And if a man lives with her, you should be like, okay, that's no harm, no foul. Just try to see if he can help you out. The purpose is to create structures where it encourages people to have families versus not. And you don't call men bums. We don't call the women in my family bums just because they don't work. We don't call them bums. We don't call them lazy. I mean, so I think a lot of what's been happening, and by the way, I'm uncovering this as I'm doing this too. So I'm very interested, and this goes all the way from like the way we police to the way we administer loans, to the way we administer health and welfare benefits, to the way we answer police calls. Everything needs to be revised and made much more equitable. And that's not just color; it's also gender. If a man says a woman punched him in the face, he should go to jail just like if a man punched a woman in the face. There should be no, and by the way, I was guilty of this myself before I got educated. Before I went to college, when I first got out the pen, and guys were like, when I first heard a woman say men can get beat, I laughed my head off like an ignorant ape. I thought it was a joke. I was like, men can't get beat. If you get beat by a woman, that's your fault. But unfortunately for me and for society, that's not a joke. People actually feel that way. I mean, cops literally laugh at men who get beat up, and that's all that stuff needs to stop. So, that's my spiel on structure. So I think a lot needs to be changed so that we don't demonize women with kids that have men at their homes that aren't working. I don't see any problem with that. Whatever's best for the kids. It's good to have a man around anyway. No how. I mean, even if no matter what if he's helping, that's great. If he's not, that's fine too. And I taught high school in the East Side. I taught at Chaparral High School for 1 year, and it broke my heart, man. I couldn't do it. It just broke my heart because I got 30 boys in my class, 30 girls, and the boys, man, and the girls, but mostly the boys, man. It just breaks your heart. They really need dads, man. There's a real shortage of dads. I mean, it breaks my heart. I mean, it was hard for me. Because I do something funny, like, okay, I want every boy to do 20 push-ups. They lined up they were collapsing from muscle failure. They just wanted a man to give a shit about them. And that's tragic. That's a tragic part of our country. A lot of boys have no dads. Sorry, that was a long spiel.
No, I mean, to me, it's intriguing to hear a man touch on the topic from a man's point of view and perspective. I'm just I'm just listening because in regards to the racial discrimination and like the employment, like in the decades of the 1930s and the 1940s, and that's kind of like the era when they said that men were men, right? So when you think about like just with the, I guess for the racial discriminations of different things, and you think about how like most black families or black men who were out trying to make their homes, their houses into homes and being the man, kind of like in your culture where they went and worked, they went and got the food. Basically, the man brought home the bacon. The man wore the pants, the man did it. So we're talking about eras where men were what they considered to be men back then. But it was interesting because when it came time for like black widows and, or just black women to go apply for benefits to try to get some form of help for their husbands, because the husband died without like proof of benefits or proof of a pension or proof that he actually worked somewhere, more black families were denied basically welfare or social security or food stamps and different things like that. So then as they started to pass more laws to try to make things more equal, because they found it to be that even though they created this need, it was, blacks needed it too. So even though it was created to represent more white women who husbands who had those jobs, because they were allowed to go work those jobs and make those pensions and get that social security and get that physical form of a paycheck. Once they passed the law to make it to where, blacks were finally included in order to receive any form of payment, a white woman could prove her husband died and he worked the job, right? And maybe blacks were applying for it at the same rate that whites were for, and for the same excuse. So then they came up with the man in the house rule, which required welfare workers to make unannounced visits to determine if the father was living in the home. If evidence of a male presence was found, cases were closed and welfare checks discontinued. Now, I guess what stands out to me in this sentence is it's just a male presence, meaning any male over the age of 18. So I guess it comes into play of, if the welfare worker walks in and determines that it's an 18-year-old person in the house that could easily be the welfare recipient's son, right? Now, all of a sudden, her benefits is cut off, because in their mind, your son is old enough, your 18-year-old son, who shouldn't even be thinking about a job unless it's just something that he wants to do to better himself, right? Because at 18, we want them to think about, fundamentally, what do you want to do for your life now? You're grown, because by society, kids are grown at 18. So what is it that you want this black 18-year-old male to go do in 1930s and the 1940s when when they're still fighting for their rights just as human beings? Now you're telling them that they have to get out of the house, so now they have to go be homeless, right? Or because we talking 1930s, so we talking, some world wars and some other wars along between the time. So now either they have to sign up to be a part of your military.
I did that.
And you can stop me if I'm wrong, because I know you have your history with the military, and if I'm treading on something, you can stop me.
No,
so I'm just giving you my perspective.
I joined the military
right?
but I joined the military for that same exact reason. I had to send money home to my mother. Because when you're 18 in my culture, a matter of fact, 18 my ass, you're 16. Now, I don't do that with my own son because I happen to be quite affluent, but I've been lucky in life. But I don't ask my son for nothing because he's you got to work.
But you also change the narrative of what a man. I think you have this idea of what you were culturally raised to believe what a man should be, and I think that you didn't go off of that path. I think that it would almost be like you cutting off your nose to spite your face just to say you a man, but not do all of the things that a man is supposed to do. So you carry yourself in a different way. But what I guess I'm getting at is you take these group of men and you pretty much either make them homeless, You make them have to go fight in a war, and then they become homeless, and then you have all of these vagrants laws and different things. So now you're finding a way to put these black men back into a different form of slavery, because in the eye of the eye, they're always going to be the young buck that's strong and can get it done. So now you have this. You've now set up several different ways to take the black man out of the household, and that wasn't necessarily what it was for other families. And it's almost like they just found different ways to reinvent slavery to me. Like, found different reasons and ways to just keep breaking the black family until more. It wasn't until it's broken.
Whitey's tricky. And I'll tell you why, too. I mean, things are so bad now. We have to turn things around from a policy perspective to reward women for having men in the house. To give them more.
Change things around from policy perspectives if they won't even make the people that was born in 1930 or 1940 or 1950 or 1960 retire, so young people like ourselves can get in and make these policy changes. Because the thing is,
yeah, that's true.
They don't want to see the world change.
No.
And the easiest thing to promote is hate. Because if you get out here and you get to talking love, now you talking a foreign language. Because what is love, right? What is love? And what is love for one sister and one brother, even though they don't look the same as you or make them out? What does love really look like among people in America? Like, what does love look like among us?
Well, hey, it's the same reason why I wear this patch every day, okay? It pisses people off sometimes, okay? But it's true. You have to see other people as human beings. Okay, black lives have to matter in order for black lives to change. People have to, for example, Brown versus Board of Education, that was the most racist goddamn thing that ever happened. Because what happened was they said, yeah, you got to mix the white and black kids, but guess what they didn't say? You have to hire black teachers. Because all white teachers had to have a black student, but no white student wanted a black teacher. It wiped out the whole goddamn teaching corps. It wiped out the whole black teaching corps of the United States. So, I get mad just thinking about it. So there's a lot of systemic things we've done.
I'm glad that you touched on Brown versus the Board of Education, because it goes deeper than that, right? And a lot of people don't even know that during that time, there was a study that was done between two black professors on the identity crisis that black kids were having, just even being forced to integrate into these schools. So they and it takes me back to Toni Morrison's book, Tar Baby, or Blue Eyes. The Blue Eyes. I don't know if it was two books, but it takes me back to Toni Morrison's Tar Baby, because in this book, this black kid had this identity crisis because the only thing they had to play with was this white, blue-eyed baby doll. They had no forms of representation. So in the study that this husband and his wife did, that were professors, they took baby dolls, because at this time, during Brown versus the Board of Education, there were still no black baby dolls, okay? So they had to take the white baby dolls and paint them brown. And when they gave them to these kids that they were trying to integrate into these schools, they had a fear of playing with a doll that looked just like them.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. And by the way, it hasn't changed that much, and it's 2022. Okay, so
then it becomes a question of, to me, is why did we fight? I can understand fighting for the equality part of it, right? Because everybody deserves to live a fair rate of equality of life, given all of the same fair amount of chances, okay?
That's exactly
but what
right.
I don't understand with my people is, why didn't we just fight for the equality? Why didn't we keep it segregated, right? Why didn't we keep it segregated? So I pose a question to you, because I was doing some research last night myself on on like Governor George Wallace of Alabama, right? And he made a remark in an interview that he did about he was never preoccupied with the race part of it. He didn't consider himself to be a racist, but more of a segregatist. So he believed in he wanted, so in lame terms, he tries to say that he wanted black people to have rights, right? But he wanted them to have them over there away from white people. So he was okay with black people having equal rights, but just not integrating with his people or white people.
And why, pray tell, why was that a problem, them integrating? I like the part where he says he likes them to have equal rights, but why does it matter if they're integrated or not?
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Do you believe that life started in Africa?
I don't know, sis. I'm not that educated on that topic, but I do love Africa.
Have you ever heard of the Eve gene?
No, but I've heard theories throughout my life of life starting in Africa, of everyone's began coming from Africa originally. I've heard those theories as I've lived through my life. But I've never verified.
But have you ever heard of the Eve? Have you ever heard of the Eve gene?
No.
So the Eve gene is supposed to be is that the Eve, the oldest form and mechanism of life. Like so far, they researched it back, and what it has come to show gene is more predominantly in black women and black women only, meaning the start of life started with the black woman.
Okay, I'm down. Okay.
So if you think about slavery, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just have a question. Where did Master go cheat on his wife at?
In the slave shed. That's what I believe.
Do you ever wonder why?
This is a beautiful.
Do you ever wonder why? But it just it makes me wonder it's even kind of with the passing of the Roe versus Wade and that lady making the comment like finally we get to save more white lives. You know, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean?
You know, I've said this before. Now, I do things in Africa, and what I love about doing business in Africa is when people say, brother, this is Africa. They say, hey, brother, this is Africa. Don't start that white shit over here, and it's not going to fly. I'm like, oh, my bad. They actually say that. It's actually a word like, brother, this is Africa. Like, okay, I get you. I feel you. Stop. In other words, this is our country. It's done the African way. If you don't like it, go back to America, right? So that's the this is Africa stance, okay? What happened was when Africans came to the United States, I think racism's gotten worse. And by the way, I'm 100 years old. When I was a kid, black families were the strongest. When I was a kid, black families were big and there was always a man around. And he'd beat your ass like he broke in, just like my dad. But black families were incredibly strong. When my family moved to Green Valley in 1984, there was more black families there then than there are now. Imagine that. There were more black families in Green Valley in 1984 than there are today. The point I'm trying to make is racism has gotten worse. It's gotten 10 times worse. It's just pushed underneath now. But you're right, with the reverse of Roe v. Wade and people saying stuff like, oh yeah, we can save more white lives. That's latent racism that finally has a chance to come out. Just like that governor, like, oh, I want equal rights for blacks, equal rights, just don't mix them. What? I mean, what is my question? What? That makes no sense to me. I'm with you. You could say, now look, you could say this. Look, you could say the argument, I want equal rights for whites, equal rights for blacks, but I think they should be separated because I want to create another Black Wall Street. I think blacks do better when they work with each other. They have the same culture. They have the same language. And I think they'll promote their own agenda faster if they're together. That's a different conversation. But not just like, well, separate them. They can have the same rights, just don't ever mix them. I'm like, well, what's wrong with mixing them? Like, I don't understand. What's the problem?
I don't think it's nothing wrong with mixing, right?
Yeah.
By all means, I have friends of all different everything, okay? And I love those friends but I look at those relationships in love. When I look at them, I see that I'm talking to a woman. When I look at them, I see that I'm talking to a man. And I would hope that when they look at me, that they see that they're speaking to someone who has love, right? Like I would hope that people see me as a person who, if I meet you and I get to know you and you get to know me, my name is Alina. It ain't that black girl. You know what I'm saying? When I met you, your name was Eneliko. You get what I'm saying? I don't care whatever you say your race is. Did you come to me as a kind human being who was willing to have a conversation with me and get to know me as me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But you a man. You are a man at the end of the day. I don't care how we break it down, you a man. And I'm speaking as what you present yourself on. Not just because that's your gender role or whatever. You a man. You are the personification of a man, right? And then I would imagine that you would look at me and say, you know what? That's a woman. And she's every personification of a woman, no matter what this look like.
Right. And so then, okay, so we're all, you're 100% right. But when you have stuff like George Floyd, and you have stuff like Raynon Brooks, and you have stuff like 5 police officers fire like 18 bullets into the back of a guy's car while he's sitting in his driveway, they didn't see a man, because you wouldn't do that to a man. You don't.
Well, what did they see?
You would never say, "I'm going to shoot this man in the back." I think that's a good thing. Like no man thinks shooting another man in the back is an honorable thing. Matter of fact, if one of my Ranger buddies or one of my 82nd Airborne buddies shot a person in the back, I'd have that motherfucker up on charges. I don't support cowards. You don't shoot another man in the back. That's a dog does that kind of shit. Now, if he tried to shoot you, now he's running. That's bad luck for him. But if he didn't do nothing to you and you shoot him in the back, so what I'm trying to say is, you're right. You treat everyone equally, but color only becomes an issue when things are strange, when things don't make sense. When things don't make sense, you have to ask yourself, what's the reasoning? And then that's when color comes in for me. Otherwise, I think everyone's the same. I agree with you. Everyone's the same unless I see something different.
So what are some things that would make the Black community stronger, more resilient, and or more just connected?
Well, I mean, it's easy. Number one is create policies where, like you and I just talked about, that and by the way, I'm not saying doesn't penalize. I mean rewards. Create policies that rewards a woman for having a man in the house. And not a black man, not a white man, any man, just having a man in the house. We got to start restoring these families. There's way too many single moms out there right now. It's an epidemic. It's a real epidemic. So number one is to reward people for having men in the house. Now, disproportionately, that's going to affect people of color, because disproportionately, that's the people that have been damaged the most. Okay, disproportionately. So that's number one. Number two is banks have to stop giving away white loans. I mean, I'm sorry, I got all the white money too. So, but I'm saying enough of this 800 credit. Go fuck yourself. Okay, 500 credit score is good enough. 550 is good enough. If they're a person of color, hey, you're lucky you don't have to pay reparations. Just start. I mean, we have to start. I mean, we have to make things equitable first before we can apply equity. Because they're so behind people of color are so behind the 8 ball right now. Okay, these greedy ass banks. You walk in, you try to make a better life for yourself. 800 credit score. Hell, that's ridiculous. So they got to be a lot more friendly on passing out money to people of color. And then we as people of color, number 3 is we have to support our own businesses. We really do. We have to support our own businesses. We have to support each other, help each other out and stuff like that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, Muslims support Muslims. Jewish people support Jewish people. White people support white people. Latter-day Saints support Latter-day Saints. Catholics support Catholics. So there's nothing wrong with people of color, black people supporting black people. I mean, that needs to be a real thing now. I mean, it's ridiculous how they say this crab in a bucket thing. It's like, no, this crab in a bucket applies to everyone. That's just society. That's just like general society. But no, so I think those three things. I mean, put fathers back in the home. That's number one, because our single mom epidemic right now is it's off the charts. It's off the charts.
So it's funny because you mentioned something, right? Which was a thought that I had, right?
Uh-huh.
We have been socially conditioned to have this crab in the barrel or bucket mentality, but a crab's natural habitat isn't in a barrel, but the ocean.
Yep.
So of course, anything taken from its natural habitat will fight to overcome. But why do we think we have been programmed to think it's a social norm in just the black community or any community? In the words of you say, why do you think that we have been programmed to believe that a crab's natural habitat is a barrel or a bucket, but it's not?
Yeah, that's true, huh? That's a good point. I never thought of that. That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, it's in Samoa, the reason I'm a boxer, when I was a kid, all the Samoan kids knew I had white blood in me. And in Samoa, white blood is weak blood. So they all lined up to whoop my ass. Because, like, if he got white, he weak. He can't fight. He got white blood in him. He ain't shit, right? So it's a real thing in Samoan blood, Samoan mentality, that if you're mixed, you're not going to be as strong as a regular Samoan. A regular Samoan is like a full Samoan. And if you got any other blood besides Samoan, it's time to whoop that kid's ass because he can't fight no how. They were wrong, of course, but so that mentality is different. So then what's happened in America is this whole predominance about white oppression is so rampant. But you can't really put your finger on it. See, what it is when you have racism in policy, and you have racism in benefits, and you have racism in policing, and you have racism in parole, and you have racism in the justice system, and you have racism in everything that you touch, but nobody can claim that they're being racist. The whole system's protected. Well, what happens is when a brother, and I hate to say this, this is why when a person of color tries to come up and other people of his own race attack him, like you're an Uncle Tom, you're this or that, they're not really hating on him. They're just frustrated. They're frustrated with the system. And he's representing a system that they know oppresses them, but they can't put their finger on it. So they think he's sold out when he's just trying to help himself. And this is what creates this whole paradigm. But I'll tell you this much so, and I've seen this because, once again, I'm 100 years old. I see a lot more brothers now on the come up. I see a lot of them now. And for the first time in my natural life, I'm now seeing brothers get together and be like, no, man, they was wrong about us. They was wrong about us. And I see a lot of brothers now supporting each other, helping each other out in business. And I see brothers coming up. I see brothers making great YouTube videos. I see brothers making big businesses. I see brothers making moves. So I think that somehow, somewhere, that's starting to fall apart. But for the last 100 years, it's been, since slavery started, it's been that's been the governing paradigm. It's like to act like the oppressor. It really triggers people, man. So that's why I think this crab in the bucket thing came about. But I think it's becoming less and less of a concern from what I see.
Well, why do you think America paints Black people as the victim and then condemns them for being the victim?
No, America is not condemning the Black person for being a victim. They're calling them a victim because they're trying to say, we've already got it solved. You guys are victimizing yourselves. You're just acting like victims. They're trying to minimize the situation. If you don't want to listen to somebody, just minimize them. Oh, he's just a racist, or he's just a victim. He's a professional victim, right? Like, are you going to tell me that what happened to George Floyd was an anomaly?
I think it was a recorded factual reality into the generational trauma that Black people have had to deal with for centuries. But the problem is that when you go to look into generational trauma, you find a whole bunch of research on the Holocaust, right? Very significant thing that has happened in history. Won't take nothing from it, right?
Yeah.
But when I learned about the Holocaust, it made me want to know more about what those set of people went through, right?
Yeah.
And then it made me think about how could I be a solution and not a problem to what those set of people went through, right? So I could empathize and I could almost try to imagine what it would be like, even though my own people had its own generational trauma.
Yeah.
I would never belittle the Holocaust movement because it happened. That is those set of people's pain. And the fact that it is that I live in a society that tries to tell me that the things that happened to my people didn't happen to my people, and it's a figment of my imagination, right?
That's exactly what's happening right now.
And then you go to further it now because you're getting into a time and a place where things have been recorded and pictures have been taken. See, it's a reason why certain photos are in black and white, but nobody knows that some of the stuff that they see in black and white happened in 1972, and 1972 was like what? Let me get the math together.
Yeah,
Hold on.
Let
me get this math together on this. Let me be clear in what I'm about to say to this, okay? That was only 50 years ago when color pictures, video recordings, all of this could be done in color. But it's a reason that it's put in black and white because they want us to think that it didn't happen in this time frame. But the truth is, it did, right? Okay. And so we can have all of these great researches on these traumatic experiences for everyone else, but there is nothing for my people to just be like, okay, you know, and I say this because you have like the critical race theory where they're trying to go into schools and remove certain books and stuff like that. But one thing that I liked about growing up in the era that I grew up in, you know, I got to read all type of books, right? So I got to read a book about the Japanese girl who lives here in America. And when the bombing on the Pearl Harbor happened, you know, it talks about how America tried to set up concentration camps for any person who looked to be Asian. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, they
but
did.
That can spread a whole ways away. So you had Koreans that were in these
Koreans, Chinese.
I mean, they wasn't called concentration camps, but they were called like some type of camps. I can't think of what they were called now, but they were called like some type of camps, right?
Internment camp. Yeah.
Internment camps. Okay, so you had them. You had Koreans. You had Chinese. You had Filipinos. If you had any form of what they determined to be Asian, they stuck your family.
Indonesian, Singaporean.
Correct.
Yeah.
So they stuck all of these people in these camps, right? But you can acknowledge that you did these to these people, right? And you can give these families millions of dollars. Same thing, and don't get me wrong, because I have Native American in me. But you can acknowledge that you came over here and stole these people in. And every, I don't know if it's every month or whatever, but everybody who claimed that they are Native American or could prove that they are of Native American descent gets a stipend check every month. And if you have a kid, just because you are declared Native American, then your kid is automatically declared Native American, and then your kid get a stipend check every month. Native Americans are the only ones who are allowed to have a country inside of this country. Did you know that?
Well, that's true. Yeah, they do have a country inside this country. Yep.
Do you know that federal law does not take native law takes precedence over federal law if it happens on a reservation? Meaning, if you as an outlaw go onto a reservation camp and they allow you to set up residence on that reservation, the federal government legally cannot come and expedite you off that reservation.
That's a fact. Yeah, that's a fact.
So you have this amount of people where it is documented for years on years of years. Now, I'm at a point where you could give us reparations or you can give us reparations, right? But what is it? Why is it so hard to admit what was done to my people? Mm-hmm. So when I say they paint us as the victim, right? Because I guess by now we should just be used to their antics, right?
Yep. That's right. That's right.
But then when I say, no, I'm not taking that, then you want to tell me, oh, she's just another irate, educated Black woman. See everything we said about her? Look at her there acting. And see, yesterday in America, what I saw was my people showing the world that when Reagan said we were some welfare queens, that's what I saw yesterday. We proved him to be right because they have set these stereotypes of us, and lo and behold, here we go playing into it. It was to the point to where you couldn't even make a comment and have an opinion on it without people feeling attacked. Like yesterday should have been, the last 2 days should have been a way for us to all sit down and have a common conversation on why do we think the Black family has been set up to prone to have these arguments? Why is it that this young mother has to even be on welfare? What can we do as a community to not only help her become a better woman, but to help this father become a better man so these kids can raise up out of this toxic generation trauma that we have been passed down for years and years on just separating the Black family?
Oh no, that yeah, I agree. I mean, it's almost, to me, I mean, we have to do something quick. It's almost beyond repair.
Do you know among solo parents, 42% are white and 28% are Black, compared with 55% of cohabiting parents who are white and 13% who are Black? So even though you have more white single parents, right, in some form of a fashion,
I'm one.
You still have more unmarried Black families.
Yeah. I know, man. It's tragic what's happening with marriage, especially in Black families. I know.
Now I'm at this place where we can keep blaming the prison system. We can keep blaming all of these other things, right? But I still believe that there are more Black men free than there are Black men in jail, or it might be a comparison. I don't know. I might not be the right person to. I might need to research that. Actually, let me go ahead and research it real quick.
Research that, but also there's a ton more Black women than there are Black men right now available for marriage. I think even if every Black man got married, there'd still be 3 or 4 million Black women available. There's a lot of Black women out there right now. And, I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm a single father, and I personally, I love it. I love being a single parent, but that's just me.
So
I think it's
as of 2000...
What?
As of 2017, there are 475,900 Black men in prison. That means it's 1 billion. So that means you still have more Black men with their freedom.
Yeah.
Capable of building these families, capable now, especially of getting a job where the system may still be picked against you, right? But I truly believe that the system will hire a man before it will hire a woman, right? Because men, if we're going to compare men to women, it's things that women have to deal with that men don't have to deal with. Like workplaces don't have to worry about a man taking off work for 9 months if his wife should become pregnant, right? But in the event that a woman becomes pregnant, you know, sometimes they may have morning sicknesses because kids changes us. You know, they may have different things that may, instead of them being on, you know, taking a 12-week, however many weeks they give you off of maternity leave, you know, versus you just only having to take that maternity leave. Now you have times when you're not going to be at work that disrupts their production flow, right? As a company, right? So
No,
I still truly believe that companies are more willing to hire a man over a woman because men just don't have the same issues as.
Well, okay, you're right. So then, I got a lot of my friends are brothers, and they all got jobs. They're all working. They're all entrepreneurs, by the way. You got like a delivery business. One guy has like a trucking company. But the problem is that they're well-to-do guys, and they're working their asses off, and they're out there hustling. We watch boxing together on Saturdays. But the only problem is if they meet a sister, they want to move in with her, she loses every benefit she ever had. So there is no way for them to get into her life. If she's on Section 8 and she's got 3 kids, and he's like, look, you know what? I'm going to help you all out. I'm going to move in with you. Let's split the bills. As soon as Health and Human Services finds out, they're like, there goes your TANF, there goes your Section 8, there goes your food stamps. And it's ridiculous.
Well, not necessarily there goes your TANF, because as long as you're willing to keep the father on child support.
No, I agree, but
that's what I don't understand. And let me be clear with this: whether you black, whether you white, whether you Hispanic, whether you whatever, right? My whole issue with child support is right.
Uh-huh.
I feel like if more families were families, whether you were married or not married, right, there would be no need for TANF because people would just naturally be taking care of their responsibilities, right? You have a child. You do what you need to do to make a child, right? And it's no matter your race, okay? You do what you got to do to have a child. We all know what that is. We grown. For those that's watching, you grown, you do grown-up things, okay? When you grown, okay? Or when you think that you consciously is in a position to where you think you can handle those emotions, right?
Okay, yeah, I'm going with you.
So what I'm saying is that no matter the race, right? No matter the race, if mothers were mothers, excuse me, let me take that back. If women were women and more men were men, technically some of the government systems, it wouldn't even be a need for, because everybody would be moving in a productive way to meet the bare minimum just to take care of their children, right? Because you know what it takes to raise a kid, right? Now, it don't really matter the structure of what the child is raised in, because it's seen that you can have all of these different polygamy cults where you have these men that are financially still taking care of these women and the kids that are being born of these polygamy cults, right? Because one thing you don't ever hear about these polygamy cults is that there was ever a financial issue in the cults. Most of the time, the problem is that you have this perverted person that's the head of the cult having sex with children who are not at the mental capacity to really be having sex, right? But you never hear in any of these cults that the issue was the financial of supporting the load.
No. I think most polygamous marriages that I've seen, and by the way, I'm Muslim, so I'm allowed to have 4 wives.
No, I said the cults. See, I'm not talking. I said the ones where it's the manipulation.
Yeah, but the cults, but they do take care of their kids, though. They take care of their kids. I mean, you never see, for the most part, they take care of their children. Oh, wait, let me back up, though. The child support system also needs to be fixed because the guys that don't have the money for child support are being thrown in jail. And I don't understand how that's helpful. I don't see how that's helpful.
See, this is the thing, right? Some of the men that have been thrown in jail, right, was still an active parent in the household, right?
That's what I'm saying.
But for
Yeah.
whatever reason, the woman had to become the provider. So the issue is not that the man wasn't in the household. The issue has always been that the man didn't work. And then the way that if you do want to go the religion way of it, and I don't care which religion and this is no disrespect to your religion, but I'm just gonna say this, and then you stop me if I'm wrong. But I don't care which way you chop it up in religion. If a man does not work it, he does not eat it.
He does not what?
Am I wrong? I don't care how you chop. I don't care how you say it in no religion. If the man does not go out and do the manly thing for his family, then he does not reap the benefit of having a family, right?
In my ethnic culture and in Muslim culture, that is correct. The man has to provide. 100%.
So I'm gonna say this in my, because I'm not gonna sit here and claim a religion, but in my walks and in my talks with my God, it's the same thing. Okay.
Okay, but at the same token, if a woman has a master's degree like you, and she works at the MGM, she got promoted to manager of room reservations. And let's just put a number. Let's say you make $85,000 a year, and your boyfriend, handsome dude, just got off the joint, ain't got no money. He's willing to stay home and take care of the child while you go to work because you're bringing in 6-7 racks a month. I don't see anything wrong.
Let me pause you right there. Let me pause you right there. Let me pause you right there.
Okay.
Because even if that was my life, first of all, you just got out the joint. We ain't even about to be talking in real life, right?
I'm just using this example.
Now, let's bring my caliber and my man up, right? Now, let's say I work at the MGM and I get promoted to manager and I'm making $85,000, right? Now, let's say I'm working at MGM, right? And I'm making this, right? And let's say one day on property, I meet a security guard.
Okay.
Right?
That could happen.
And he's only making $50,000, right? So now I got $30,000 over him, right?
Okay.
Me as a woman, guess who's still the man no matter what I make up here, right? Because this up here, I'm never gonna make him feel right here, right? If anything, we're gonna be here. And see, that's how I personally operate. So the truth is that if me and him had a child, right?
Yeah.
So eventually, the 85 that I'm bringing in, it ain't gonna matter for a second because guess what's gonna happen? Because now I got to come off on maternity leave, right? And the way that our government is set up, they only giving me what? They're not giving me 100% of my pay, not on short-term or long-term disability. Let's be clear on this, right? So now easily, financially, technically, me and him is making the same amount once I go on maternity leave, right? So financially, he becomes the head cha-cha just because until I actually go back to work. And then because I'm a mama, right? Because now my maternal instincts have kicked in, I'm going to want to stay with my baby. So now the 12 weeks that I may have wanted off, now I got to have a real conversation with this man because we here, right? I got to have a real conversation with my man that, hey, listen, the 80 whatever that I was bringing in, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pull that because now I want to be a mother. I want to be a wife. I want to be a woman, right? I want to live in my feminine energy, right? So now this man has to make a conscious decision as the man. Do I let her vibrate in her feminine energy or do I tell her to take her ass back to work? Because we need your 80,000.
No, he's going to take some overtime, and you go home and stay home. That's how it works. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. Or get a second job. Maybe you could work at 7-Eleven. I don't know. Yeah, it's just part of being a man. It's just there. I mean, one time my brother had 3 jobs because he had two of my sisters and my mom living with him. And my mom goes, "Your brother's going to die of a heart attack." I said, "I don't care. That's his job. I mean, if he dies, he dies. What am I supposed to do about it? I can tell him not to work. He has to work. You got to take care of y'all motherfuckers." So, no, it is what it is. I mean, I feel you. I mean, that's good though. I mean, you're right. I mean, it's women have to start becoming more sensitive as to making a man feel like a man, regardless of how much money he makes, because they need to start thinking about the future. You're exactly right. You may be making more than him now, but when you have a child, if you want to stay home, you're gonna have to keep him around, and he has to feel valued. And you know, you know what I'm saying? Like the woman that takes care of my baby in Africa, she used to sell fruits on the side of the road. Guess what? She will never do again for the rest of her life, as long as my child's there. She'll never sell another fruit for the rest of her life. They got so much money. She keeps telling me not to send money, and I keep sending it because I have a baby, and I told her, I said, you have one job. You're within an arm's reach of my child at all times. That's your one job. She probably makes 10 times more than the average African in Gambia. It don't matter. But guess what? It make no difference to me. You can take my money, burn it. You can light it to cook steaks. I give two fucks about it. I want my kid taken care of. And that's the kind of man you want, the kind of man that all he cares about is his children. So, yeah, I mean, I just think that, and by the way, this is me speaking socially. My minor is sociology. I think women have to really start backing off of this whole, like, he has to make 3 times more than me, 2 times more than me. He's got to be a baller. All that shit's got to go down the tubes. Women have to start being more realistic about men, I think.
As long as he has a job, right?
Yeah. That's
and
right.
He has a good sense of a head on his shoulder, right?
That's right.
As long as he's walking in his confidence of his masculinity, I'm never gonna. I guess money, because and it's funny because I had this conversation earlier about my mentality versus my reality, right? Because in my mind, I'm gonna always take care of me, right? I'm gonna, as my duty to myself, right? I'm going to always take care of me. And as that man's duty to himself, he should always have a plan to take care of him. Now, in this life, if we're blessed to find each other and can take care of each other, right?
Yep.
It don't matter whether I make 85 or he makes 65, right? Mm-hmm. It don't matter if I make 80 and he make 50, right? The point is, do you love me? Do you see my light? Do you see my compassion to want to help you with your dreams? Do I see your compassion to want to help me with mine? Where can I tell you where to grow at? See, can I come to you and say, hey, listen. This debate on whether this man versus whether this mother was wrong, where do you see yourself as a man when it comes to kids, right? Where do you see? Do you see yourself as a father? Do you see yourself as a husband? What are some of your boundaries? What are some of the things that make you tick?
Yeah,
because your money don't mean nothing. It's every day we come home and we miserable. I come in the house. It's like I already got to come home from dealing with people that I semi-halfway like and don't like, right? To have to come home and not have no peace in my home. That's crazy to me. Like, that's just crazy to me. So are the bills don't get paid one way or another? They are. At the end of the day, they are. Because at the end of the day, I know that I need lights in my house. I know that I need running water in my house. I know that I like to watch TV. So therefore, the cable bill got to get paid. I know I like to talk on my cell phone. So the cell phone bill got to get paid. We might like to watch Hulu and Netflix. You get what I'm saying? That's all got to get paid. We know we got to eat, so food got to go in the refrigerator, right? Doesn't matter whether he put the food in there or whether I put the food in there.
Well, I'll tell you, so from my perspective, now, obviously, let's take religion out of this, even though I think Islam is the perfect religion. Forget about that. But when a man, the reason why I prefer to pay all the bills for everything, including everything my daughter needs and everything my son needs, including his college and his life and his apartment. And when my daughter, I'm going to build a home for her and her husband. That's fine. That's just my part of my life. The only reason I do it, the only reason my brother pays all the bills in his house, and the only reason my other brother pays all the bills in his house, I guarantee you there's only one reason for it. It's peace. We just want peace. In other words, when I know I paid all the bills, ain't nobody got to worry about nothing. I come home, y'all run the AC, y'all eat some bread. I don't know, maybe y'all having a smoothie night. Maybe it's taco night, Taco Tuesday. I don't know. I ain't know nothing. I don't know. I ain't none of my business. I just need to get some sleep. But the reason I like paying all the bills because then I know all the bills are paid 100%. And my woman ain't got to look at no bills. She ain't even got like right now they out shopping around. Nima's taking Kylie out to shopping for outfits. Get her whatever you want. I don't care. Don't make no difference to me. But here's another thing that I want to mention. Nima's obedient. and by the way, I ain't the funnest motherfucker. When I send money, I'm like, I want these 10 things accomplished. I want pictures of them. I get all my pictures. I even said, I'm a micromanager. I'm like, I want toothpaste for my baby, but it got to be delicious. But if she don't like it, don't brush her teeth. Don't. And I also tell this to Nima: if my baby's crying, you wrong. You wrong. Whatever makes her cry, stop doing whatever it is. Stop. If you try to brush her teeth, she cries. Stop. Brush her. But I give her solutions. Brush her teeth when she's asleep at night. And then I'll say something. Whatever she wants, she gets. I'm not fucking around either. Whatever she wants, she gets. Just if you can't have it, I get upset even thinking about it. You got to call me if she can't get what she wants. So it makes it easy for Nima to do her job. All she got to do is take a few photos, be next to my baby. She ain't never got to sell another fruit for the rest of her life, and just do what I ask, and that's it. It's easy, right? But I'm not doing this.
That's all, right? But that's it, and that's all, right? That's it, and that's all, right?
That's in what?
That's it, and that's all, right?
That's it, that's all. Now, you think I'm not doing this because I want to be a macho, beat my chest. No, I'm just doing it because I want peace. I want peace. Because when look, she sends me photos of my baby. One time I saw a sweat bead, I lost it. I'm like, what the fuck is she sweating? He goes, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, listen, I want a fan on my baby every single night. I want to see the fan by tomorrow. I wanted a solar fan that recharges every night. She's like, okay, I want to put a fan above her bed, and I send all the money. I sent so much money. They're like, okay, stop sending. I'm like, I don't care. Do it. Next picture, I get a pic now. I see another picture of her. You saw a picture of my baby on Instagram. Her skin looks beautiful. Her teeth, her eyes are white. I check all over my baby. And then I'm like, what's her skin routine? I'm like, okay, I want you to buy these different types of lotion. I want to put on my baby 3 times a day. If her skin is dry, that could cause pain. My baby's not in the pain business. I'm in the pain business. I'm in the pain. I'm in the misery business. I'm in the money-making business. She's in the sleeping, crapping in her diaper, and getting whatever she wants business. You feel me? But we men do this for one reason only. We just want peace. We just want peace. So the key to a woman's happiness in life, like for Nima, her life has changed dramatically. I could see she's dressing better. She's got all these different hijabs. If you give a man peace, he'll give everything. What's happening now is men come home and women want to talk or want to give them problems, want to give them drama. Then they wonder why they can't keep a man. But at the same token, hold on. If a man isn't paying all the bills, then he shouldn't expect peace. That's a bitter truth that a lot of men don't want to swallow. Unless you pay all the bills times 2, then you don't have the right to ask for peace because everyone's nervous. If your woman turns the AC on, she shouldn't give a fuck what it's going to cost. Really. If she puts it on 65 because she wants to be cold, and I don't, listen, it's none of your fucking business. You come home as a house going, damn, it's cold, man. Turn your fan off in your room and go lay down. But the point is, you can't have peace if you're not paying all the bills. So it's a double-sided problem. You know? I don't know. So.
But what happens to the woman that wants to come home and want peace too?
True. But if a woman's at work all day because she has to help pay the bills and she comes home, you're right. You're exactly right. It goes both ways. So, and I want to get away from the gender thing, a man or a woman. Whoever decides to cover because it takes, by the way, I don't sleep easy. I got ulcers. You don't got much of injuries.
Well, I want to get away from the gender thing too, because I want to know how is it that how can we get peace and love back into these situations?
I don't know, sis. I mean,
like, how do you think that just in general, like, how can we change peace and love back to being the social norm? Well,
I have peace and love with every relationship I have with a woman, but because it's none of it's long term. We hang out, we drink some wine, we smoke some weed, we fuck all night, and then that's it. And then I don't ask them where they're going. I don't care. I'm doing my thing, she's doing her thing, and then we may talk again, we may not. And I've been single for my whole life, pretty much. So, but it's gotten to a point now where, like, it's not worth it to even think about being in a relationship for a man. It's not worth it. There's no value in it.
But why don't you feel you deserve peace and love on that level?
No, but I get peace and love with each different girl that comes over, just in different
No.
I mean, not all the time. All girls are different, but I'm not saying, no, it's just like, I don't, it's just, Like I'll go hang out, we go for karaoke, and then we'll hook up at the end of the night, and then she'll leave in the morning, or
But
she'll be
that's
at home.
not peace and that's not love. That's hooking up. What I'm saying is, you said that you have been single for the majority of your life. So,
Yeah,
what has happened in your life that you feel like you don't deserve that one person that
no.
is totally smitten by you, appreciates and honor everything you do, and all they want is the same peace that you want? So, that's what I'm asking, right? Because we
Well,
can all go out here and have a lot of fun, right?
no, no.
That same
Okay.
is saying we can all go have a lot of fun. But at the end of the night, doesn't it make a difference when you have something to come home to
Oh,
other than
me no,
yourself?
no, sis. I love my personal time. I love my personal time. Like even the most beautiful, peaceful woman on the planet, I don't want her living in my house.
But
I ain't
why
trying
not?
to, cause I ain't trying to. I ain't that kind of. I ain't that kind of guy, man. I ain't the. I mean, when I see guys in relationships, I'm like, man, y'all, that just alien. I mean, that's just miserable to me. Like,
But you are that type of guy because you're that type of man. You do know that, right?
what are you talking about?
Would you want a man like you for your daughter? Think about what you said, right? You go out every night, you do what you do, right? Would you want a man like that for your daughter?
Of course not, but then again, I'm a different person. I've been out in the streets since I was 13. I've been out, and then you got to think too, sis. I ran off into the military, and I've been in the joint, all that stuff. And I've done some horrible things to people. So I ain't the best. I ain't a catch.
So
I'm a
does
big,
those horrible things not make you worthy of love and peace?
no, and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I like to be by myself because I like to be alone with my thoughts, and I love providing for my kids. Like I love the idea of building a house for my little sweetheart when she turns 18 and gets married, and I love the idea of paying for my son's apartment his whole life and stuff. I love that kind of stuff, but that stuff really drives me. But the whole concept of like sitting and talking with a woman for an hour or going on a walk with the beach, that makes no sense to me. I
Well,
mean,
you just
I've had
talked to me for almost an hour. Am I not a woman?
you're a friend of mine. You're interesting to talk to, and you're intelligent, and I enjoy it. It's fine. Um, but like that, like I've had girls ask me to come with. I go to Mexico every other month, and I'm going for 2 weeks in about a week, and girls ask me like, "Can I come with you?" I'm like, "Oh no, no, no," because they always talk too goddamn much. It's like, sis, can I say, okay, hold on a second. I will say this much. There was a one girl, she was Muslim. Okay, by the way, there's a girl, she was Muslim, but she stopped being Muslim. She had a hard time. Her family kicked her out the house. Dark and beautiful, too. God damn, boy, chocolatey like a motherfucker. Like a Hershey's bar. Okay? God damn, that girl was beautiful. Anyway, she comes to my crib and she's like, "Can I stay with you in Eneliko? Because my family kicked me out and I want to move to LA with my friends, become a model." I said, "Yeah, you're beautiful. You stay with me." Now she's Muslim. I said, "Guess what? She stayed with me for a month. Guess what she did?
What did she do?
Cooked, cleaned, and didn't talk at all. She didn't say shit. Even when I came home, she didn't even say hi to me. Which is guess what I thought? Loved it.
What?
I fucking loved it. I was so happy. And when playtime came, she knew. I didn't have to say nothing. I'd walk by and like, she'd see me say, "Oh, yeah, it's that time." I'm like, "Yeah, it's that time." So she was with me for a month, and that was the 1 month in my entire life when I thought to myself, I could do this for life. I could do this for life. Well, she left and went to LA to become a model, and then she came back 3 years later and she wanted to move back in with me. And I said, "No, you can't, sis," because she changed. I went and had lunch with her, and she was now she had a degree and she was teaching, she was tutoring kids, but she had become westernized, and she talked too damn much. She was talking, so I was like, goddamn. I was like, "Yeah, I'll hang out with you." So I came to see her downtown, messed with her a few times, but I was never gonna have her move back in with me. But that was the 1 month where I said to myself, I could deal with this. Like, so for me, if she's has the same values as me and just stays home and just takes care of my crib and don't talk much, and then we have a kid, she takes care of my kid, that's perfect for me. That's what I want. I mean, I'm really about myself. I'm really like my peace. When I come home, I don't like to. I mean, she could read a book, make a smoothie, go for a jog, whatever. Just don't talk to me. I don't like anyone talking to me. So that being said, that's why I travel by myself too. Y'all like to talk too much. I don't get it. I don't get it. Alina, can you explain something to me? Can I ask you something?
You can.
If I'm paying for the trip and I'm paying for our tickets and I'm paying for everything, right? Are you following me? Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
Are you listening?
Mm-hmm.
And we go to the airport. Are you following me?
I'm listening.
why do you have to talk? Like, why do you have to talk to me? Like, it blows me away, man. I've tried it 3 or 4 times. I finally just gave up. Now that's why I travel alone all the time. I gotta go to Paris, and je parle français régulièrement. I speak French, but y'all just like to talk to. I think there's a genetic I miss.
Well, see, that's a hard question for me to ask because I got tired of not having anyone to talk to. That I started a podcast. So.
Well, I don't mind. No, I mean it's cool. I mean, but I think but to really, on a serious note, to answer your question, yeah, if a woman was quiet enough, I would get married. And by the way, being faithful to me is easy as pie. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm a man of my word. And I love my children more. I love my children so much. I don't even know if there was that much love in the world. If you said I'm gonna give you a child, but you don't ever touch another woman, I'm like, too easy. I'm like, that's so easy. That's so easy. That's easier than getting up in the morning.
See, that's the thing. I have a natural disposition just to be quiet because I'm always listen. I can't speak for no other woman. I'm just gonna speak for me, right? But I always have a natural disposition to be quiet because my mind is always moving a mile a minute, right? So I'm always consistently thinking, and I'm always consistently thinking of new ways to better and mature different things and make better decisions, just not for myself, but also for my community, right? So that's why I'm always silent because I'm always trying to think of a better way, right? Now, my outlet now is my podcast, but I don't genuinely think that if every day I had a chance to come home to my mate or my mate had a chance to come home to me, I think that just because we are people, right? We genuinely want to digress about our day, right?
Yep.
But I would think that once we were done digressing and we were able to give each other some form of comfort, reassurance, peace, and love, that I think that we can spend the rest of our evening, outside of that 1 to 2 hours. Maybe it's him cooking dinner. Maybe it's me cooking dinner. Maybe we decided to go out to eat before we came home to leave the energy outside of our home, right? But I would imagine whatever the road that we would take to get to the form of the peace and love, that it would ultimately end in silence, right? Because communication is just a form of people. You have to communicate to understand, right? You have to communicate to have a sense of understanding. You have to communicate to have a sense of awareness. You have to communicate, right? And so kind of like you, I would imagine that my significant other would be okay coming home to do whatever it is that relaxes him without necessarily me consuming his moments of his own peace. I guess I don't know how I'm explaining it correctly. Like for me, like I like to paint. Like me, like I like to paint. I could not imagine somebody standing over me while I'm trying to paint talking to me, because you're going to make me mad because I'm in my zone. And I think that it would imagine that if the man's thing was playing the video game, right? I couldn't imagine being a woman standing over him knowing that his main focus right now is this video game and I'm just over him talking, because that becomes an annoyance. And I don't do things that I know annoy me, So when you in your groove and you doing what you want to do in your zone, you deserve your peace and your quiet in that time.
So then that's what I'm talking about. So when you're an entrepreneur, no one tells me what to do. I have to paint all the time in my brain. I have to think about ways to make money all the time. So my brain's always thinking about what am I going to do tomorrow to make money, and what have I done today, and have I made enough? And I know all my bank accounts like the back of my hand. Okay, if someone steals a dog, my bank account.
If I was your woman and I knew that entrepreneur thing was yours and your man was always going a mile a minute, and my man, well, he paying the bills and he, my long as my credit card bills stay quiet. Now, the only time you might hear me say something to you is the moment that my world becomes disruptive, right? Because now what I'm accustomed to doing that keeps me silent and out your face, you have now disrupted my flow. Now I got to come disrupt your flow. And I think that is the true ultimate thing of when you go to look for a significant other is make sure that they match some of your boundaries. Make sure that they foundation is the same with yours. Because if you require a woman that requires silence, I'm pretty sure you're going to do everything in your power to make sure that she stays silent, right? Just like
for example,
I require certain things.
Yeah.
So it's a two-way street.
The Muslim girl that stayed with me just got kicked out of her house. She probably had a lot on her mind. But also, she's Muslim, so at that time, she wasn't westernized yet. So when she stayed in my house, she understood that, and not to mention, everything's paid for, so I don't care. I'm a one rule guy. When I taught school, no phones. When I was in the Army, obey me like I was God. That's it. It's a simple rule, okay? With my kids, like my daughter, obey your husband. That's it. When that time comes. Other than that, I got you, okay? My son, be a man, right? So he's got an education now. So with the wife, it's just like everything's covered. No other dudes. That's it. One rule, no other dudes. That's it. One rule, okay? So you could go shopping in Tijuana, buy yourself a whole new outfit. You could go shop, take your mom to dinner. I don't care. Whatever. Just don't talk to me. Just don't talk to me. Just leave me alone. Just leave me the F alone. Like, don't say hi to me. Don't talk to me. Don't ask me what I'm doing. Don't walk into my side of the suite. Like, just leave me alone. Just
keep the money coming in. The moment I go to make a move and I don't got access to the money, I'm joking.
If it's all covered and you can do whatever you want, then why are you speaking to me, lady? Why are you speaking to me?
You're absolutely correct.
That's what I'm saying. If you can bring your mom with you, because look, I even have a thing with the mom. So I even said your mother can live with us because that's my culture. So I even said you get a free 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom house because I want my grandkids to stay with me too. So and your mom can stay with me. I don't care what you spend money on. I literally don't care. One rule: no other ninjas. One rule. That's the only rule. Okay. Everything else, I don't care. So when I come home,
wait. So she can't have no other men. But that's in your culture, though. Your religion says that you can have.
Now, hold on a second. Now, if I say I'm going to be faithful, I'm going to be faithful. If I don't say it, it's not. Then I do what I want. I do whatever comes out of my mouth. Okay, so. But to me, being faithful is easy as pie. It don't mean nothing to me. It means nothing to me. So, especially if there's kids involved, I'm not going to hurt my child's feelings just because I want to get some trim. I ain't like that. So if we have a daughter together, that's a wrap. I could care less. So, that's how I am. But now I do have one thing. The kids can bother me anytime they want. My babies, they can stand on they can sit in my lap, pour Coke on my head and slap me around when I'm trying to work. Listen, my kids can bother me anytime they want. They can stop in and see me. They can wake me up by putting gel in my mouth when I'm asleep. My kids can do whatever they want. So if you're smart, you'll have my daughter call me if you want to speak to me. Like the orphanage asked me to buy a goat for the orphanage. I said I can't buy a goat unless Kadi Jatu says buy a goat. I'm not buying shit. All my money goes to my daughter. Now, when she can actually make her sentence and go, "Daddy, buy a goat," that goat's getting bought.
They probably over there teaching your baby to say buy a goat. Anywho, that could not just for me because it's been a long day. It's almost midnight. I do want to thank you so much for being on episode 3 of This is episode 3. Technically, it's episode 4, but episode 0 is episode the pilot.
But I want to do one last statement. I think men and women together, like we talk about this, I want to come to a closure on this. I think we all just need to lower our expectations of each other. But hold on a second. Let me back up. I think we all need to start pretending like we're perfect and tell people what we're really like so that we can have more healthier relationships. Right? Like, for example, I like peace and quiet. You like a man that pays all the bills, it seems. Okay, so we just have to start telling people how we really feel about each other, like what we really want out of a partner, as opposed to what we think the company line is if we're going to really have good relationships with people. Right? But right now, it just seems to me like it's too. To me, it just seems like it's too much work right now. Maybe it's because I'm busy, but it's much easier for me to hook up with someone and then let them go on their way and I go on my way, as opposed to being in a relationship. Because I really think that relationships are coming to an end. I really think that long term. I don't. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but it seems to me that for the men in my life, the guys that I hang with, they're just like me. You get it on the go, and then you just leave it alone. It's catch and release time, and it's kind of interesting that, I don't know what's gonna happen to change that. I don't know. What do you think, Lena? I mean, what do you think? I mean, you're on the other side of it.
I
I don't know
think
the
that
solution. I mean, I've never seen it like this.
I think that I don't think that I am. I don't think that I don't think that I'm equipped to answer that question, because I can easily tell you that what I see is as a man that's my friend, right? Is that you remind me of my best friend Chris, right? Chris didn't used to have like and he probably gonna kill me when he hear this, but I don't really care. But he's been my friend for 24 years. You know, I've watched this man grow from being a child to a young man to a man, right? But I remember when me and Chris used to have like candidate conversations, just our private little conversations. And it was a lot of things that he confided in me, like just about his growth and where he was as a man. And he kind of had a mentality similar to yours, right? Like the mentality you have right now, right? But now Chris is, he'll be 35 in October. Chris is married.
Okay.
Chris is, so I'll give it to you this way. Chris is a husband. Chris is a father.
You know,
Chris is a son.
what is it?
A son. He's a son. Yeah. So meaning he has a certain pride to still take for his parents. He still has a certain pride and love for his parents, right? And even when it comes to his wife's mother, Chris is a son. You know, I think he's the epitome of what a man.
He's much like me. Then you're right, because like I said, like when I get married, I think I probably will eventually. I am going to take care of my wife's mom.
So I say this to say is that whatever it was in Ty that she brought to Chris, right? She added to him. She didn't subtract anything from him.
That's the
Meaning I feel like in her own feminine energy, she allows him to be the man that he was without having to tell him the man that he would be, right?
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
And I would imagine that is why he fell in love with her. And I would imagine that some of the things that he always said that he would never do, he did it because he found a woman that matched his energy. But not only did she match his energy, she gave him different hopes and dreams and aspirations. You know, sometimes I think we operate in the negative of why we can't have the things that we naturally desire, and then we become content with it, right? So
that could be true. Yeah,
I feel like if you have been content with your silence, right? It's only going to be a woman who can match you in your silence to make you change that. But also, if you don't put yourself out there because you are used to just because you do have people that just want to have one night stands and be done with it and over it because they not looking for real, right? So there's just an empty shell of no love and no peace themselves because it's easier to have a one night stand and not have a conversation with anyone. So if your objection of your life right now is silence, then that's the objection of your life, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But you know, like I know that you are a man, and only when you are ready to go to the next level of your levels or whatever, you know, you would do that. You
No,
would
I,
do that. So
no, next,
I'm not going to. I'm
no,
just
you're
going to
right.
tell you, as your friend, I would rather you enjoy your silence than to ever suffer in silence. You know.
Yeah,
And I know a lot of people are probably like, well, what does that mean? Meaning, people stay in dead end relationships day after day just to say that they have somebody instead of
I see it all the time.
staying with themselves and getting to know themselves,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
those people cannot take those silent moments. Their thoughts get the best of them, other things get the running through. So I would say this: make sure that you are really content in your silence while you're enjoying your silence, because if you were as content as you thought that you would, there would be no need for the external cardinal activities that you take place in. So the
Oh, it
point of
only
view
happens
still
now and then.
needs a woman to do what a woman is supposed to do, which should come natural to any man or woman, right?
Well,
But the point is, you don't. Right now, you're at a place where you're comfortable not you're comfortable with not extending change into your life, and I think
well,
that.
yeah, you're right. I talked to my PTSD my therapist, and she wants me to. So I'm going to go on 100 dates using online dating. I've never done it. I'm going to try it, but she wants me to do dating without sex.
And that's
So
going to
that's
be
going
very
to
hard for you.
be. So what I'm going to do is, because I think that's the only way you really get to know somebody. So I think what I'm going to do is do 100 dates, and I'm going to do. I'm going to. Well, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to try it, because a lot of
No, you
times,
should
just
do it though. Don't even try
no,
it. I think you should just do it, because I would love to document your journey with you. You know, just to
yeah,
see
yeah.
your emotions, and you know what did you learn from dating with no sex, because it's something you've never done, and you might come to find that all of this time it was just really a coping mechanism, because it's something in you that you have deemed unworthy, and I'm here to tell you, as your friend, you're worthy of peace and love,
Well, I
and
get
you
it, but
shouldn't be
yeah.
the only person giving it to you. You know, we were not sent on this earth to just be an entity of ourselves.
Mm, yeah, yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, I'm excited about it, but I mean, I haven't started it yet, but I'll probably start it next week. I'm gonna get on Muzzmatch and Minder, and I'm not gonna do
Well, don't get
Tinder.
on Tinder. Let me tell you why you shouldn't get on Tinder. Because Tinder
I
is
know.
just Tinder is just that, a Tinder that don't please don't do Tinder.
But so Bumble, Hinge, Muzzmatch, and Minder is fine, right?
I don't know. I'm me
You got Hinge?
personally. I have Hinge, but the last man that I met off of now, okay, so Hinge is promoted as a website where if you're actually looking for marriage, you should download the dating app Hinge,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So the last man that I met off of Hinge, we went on a date.
Okay.
Um, it was a Dutch date, right?
Okay.
Which I had no problem with it being a Dutch date.
Nice.
So by the end of the date, he went from having one kid to two kids.
Well,
He went from being a hardworking man. Well, first, this is how he presented himself. He presented himself as a man that had a felony, right? But the reason he tried to go into explaining to me how he got his felony was, I guess he was at a club one night. He jumped on a guy, then the guy jumped on him back. The next day, he go get his car. He runs the man over with his car, right?
okay.
So, but the way he initially started this story to me was that he got jumped, right? But you know me, I'm a lawyer, so I'm going into it in
Yeah.
depth because I need to know what you did. So he started the conversation off with saying he was looking for a woman who basically he can live off of her name because he has tarnished his name for the job that he wants. Now I'm just telling you because because you told me I have to go on these. Now you told me that I have to go on these dates and listen to these men. So I'm listening. You okay? I went on this date and took your advice. Okay.
Yeah, I
Don't
know, but
bother
here's the
me.
problem.
I didn't
Just
discuss
listen to you.
anything about
How
me.
does it make
Okay.
coffee? I'm gonna do coffee dates because if it's that bad, I'm just gonna walk away.
So my personal bill came to $30 and I paid it with no ease. But then again, I pay my own cost to be my own boss. Okay.
Okay, so you paid your bill.
So fast forward, the reason why the date ends is because he has to go pick his baby mama up to take her to work, to take the baby to daycare.
Okay.
Which what I didn't understand is because
So, sis, can I ask you something?
because why are you taking your kid to daycare if you about to go home and lay down?
Okay, sis, can I ask you something?
But whatever. That ain't none of my
So
that
sis,
ain't none of my business.
I've always been okay, sis. I've always been good enough just talking to girls and getting phone numbers and taking girls on dates and fucking them and stuff, right? So here's the problem. Everyone tells me that online dating is a cesspool, but I'm not. But that can't be that bad.
But no, hold on. So let me tell you. Let me finish.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Because I don't think that it could be a cesspool, and let me tell you why. So, the next day, okay, so at the end of this date, we plan to go to Rum Runners. I love to play pool. Like, I love to shoot pool. Right? I like billiards. Like, I like to shoot pool. So, I'm like, okay, that's another cheap, inexpensive date. You know, what's $4 or $5 on a pool table, right?
Yeah.
So the date never happens because he calls me and he says, well, you seem like you do very, very well for yourself. And since you do very well for yourself, I know you can afford to let me borrow some money.
Oh, Jesus Christ. No
when
wonder
I
you went
say I've never laughed so hard on the phone in somebody's face.
Yeah.
I said, and the thing was the night before I told him we could be friends. And the fact that the night that we went on this Dutch date, he was like, I'm just gonna tell you now, I got good sex. And I'm all, what does that? Okay, you got good sex. Am I mad? Me too. So you got good. So because you got good sex, that's supposed to make me just be like, oh, let me.
Okay.
And then even more, let me cash you. Because if we comparing sex to sex, then my sex is worth to me. I'm just speaking because in my mind, if he equated his sex to money, right? Then we already losing because I feel like my sex is good sex too, and it should be paid for, you know. And so I laughed at him.
Well,
I have not heard from him since.
I'm gonna keep a journal. You're right. So my therapist wants me to do 100 dates, no sex. I'm gonna try it out. But
now,
I'm not saying.
Now take it to my first guest that was on my show, right?
Yeah.
I met him initially on a dating app. Now we didn't date or anything like that. I think that it was meant to be exactly what it was supposed to be. It was like a gem had dropped in my life, right? To have this prestigious Black man on my show, speaking of the things that he spoke of. And I kind of felt cheated in that moment because I didn't know that that's all that I was going to get from him, right? But if I had went into it with the perception that he was only talking to me because he only wanted to have sex with me, and the fact that this man didn't know me from a can of paint, and I didn't know him from a can of paint, right? But he came on my show and matched my vibe, right? Now, that's a man that I could see myself getting to know, you know? That is a man that in the long run, you know, I could see myself dating him, right? Because we would have some of the same goals, which means we would have some of the same boundaries and we would have some of the same intentions, right? Now, whether his intentions was for himself or for me, he would be somebody, right, that I would potentially could take as a mate. Because again, it would go back to the factor of it didn't matter whether I made 80,000 or he made whatever money he made. Yeah. We would see each other as an equal entity, as he's a man and I'm a woman. And we have our boundaries and we have our intentions and our goals for ourselves. And never should it be, well, you make more money than me, so you can afford to do this, right?
Thing is nothing. So, yeah, I could care less about money. I could care
But
less.
do you get what I'm saying? I could care less
Yeah.
about money too. But it was the attention that he thought that sex and money drove me, and it doesn't. Can I have
No.
an intellectual conversation with you? Can I talk about the
No.
birds and the bees with you? Can I talk about
Well, I'll tell you what. Yeah, I'll
things
tell you
out of
what.
the social norm with you?
No, you're right.
Can I
Well,
have an uncomfortable conversation with you about me being raped and you don't take it and throw it back in my face later to
yeah. No, well, just from talking to you, because all I've heard from online dating is horror stories, right? Like at least when I pick up on people, I get a vibe with them and stuff, right? So for me, it's going to be coffee, man. That's rule number one, because I'm not going to try and, I don't want some
But
hassle.
see, let me tell you, even on Hinge, right? I met a guy. We were talking for 2 days. He asked me to give him a good suggestion for a coffee place, right? I give him the address to the coffee place and everything. When it came time to meet that man at that coffee place, do you know he unmatched with me on Hinge? So did you use me to get my coffee place idea, sir?
Well,
but then again, I wasn't even mad because in the 2 days of our conversation, he spoke to me of him being a bisexual man. So then I'm starting to think, well, did he use me for my coffee place to take a man or a woman on this coffee date?
wow. You know what? I can't wait. Ever since I can't wait to get back on online dating. That sounds very interesting. I'm just trying to develop a
So
system.
you just have to be very cautious.
Well, I'm trying to develop a system where a man can, like, I'm going to do dates on the days that I'm available to date, which is 1 day a week. And then I'm trying to make it where, like, I can also set up dates before I get to Mexico, before I get to Paris. So I want to develop a system that a man can use, any man, and it keeps you sane. It keeps you sane.
You might want to try this dating app that my brother Gennaro recommended to me. It's called like Elite or something like that, or the League. It's called the League. That's what it's called. You might want to try the League. The League.
What's that about?
It's a dating app where it connects you to like-minded people. So,
but I don't like women in business. They bore me to tears.
No. So you put on there what you're looking for, right?
Okay.
So say how you said you like a woman, you enjoy silence, right? Well, it'll match you to somebody who enjoys silence. But that's more so in the caliber of what you're looking for, right?
No. I like women that are women. Like I like women that are women. Like women. Like she's a girl, sounds like a girl, talks like a girl, walks like a girl, likes to shop, likes smoothies, likes to go to the gym. I don't know, does girl shit. I just don't want to hear about it.
But that's what I'm saying. It could possibly match you to a woman who like to do all of that, but don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, but unfortunately, normally these are girls that are, well, in my mind, from a demographic standpoint, I always tend to think it's going to be girls that are on I don't want to be on these high-priced dating apps. And these girls are like, I'm a business executive. I want to find a power couple bullshit. Because listen, nothing makes my dick softer than a businesswoman. You might as well stick my dick. And you know my dick's hard all the time. Okay? If you want to get my dick soft, talk business. Okay? So my biggest thing is I don't want to hear about your job. I don't want to hear about money. I don't want to hear about my airline. I don't want to hear about what clinics I have. I don't want to hear about the procedures I'm performing.
You literally have women that don't want to talk about it. But does she look like the woman that you want? Does she look like, what other attributes is it that this woman? See, nope, we just don't end the episode. I'm about to edit all of this out. And anyway, that's it. That's all on that, Eneliko.
But remember, I talked to you about that. Like I don't know women. See, because turn off it is to talk business with a man. It's just I don't understand. Okay, men are a certain way, right? We have a certain like women. Women like manly men. They just do. I don't know why. I can't explain it.
Eneliko.
Okay, so
I'm going to bed. Okay, we can talk about this on another. Listen, I'm going to do.
Alina?
No, for real. Listen, Eneliko, for real. Listen, I am going to. So for July, as of right now, it is July the 1st. So for July, I have some episodes where I want to do an all women's episode and I want to do an all men's episode where hopefully I can let my co-host run that episode and it just be him and a panel of men talking about men stuff, right?
Was that panelist that was on the last show that you had? The one sitting next to you that was dropping some knowledge?
Which episode? So
And then you probably some knowledge. The one about the oppression that the black men go get that have to deal with. Remember, I said I agree with him. I was listening to him on your podcast.
So that's the guy that was on my very first episode. That's
he's good.
That's the guy that I see. That's what I'm saying. I met him.
Yeah, he makes some good.
You get what I'm saying? And I got a gem. That's what I'm saying. I got a gem, right? I got a gem from the situation. Not saying that my co-host is not a gem, because he is a gem as well, right?
Yes.
But my first episode was just, I was blown away by a new skill, a new you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was dope to me to hear a man speak in the way of it, you know, and speak of it in a manly way. Right?
Yeah, he had some good commentary. Okay.
That can easily be an attractiveness to me, right? So that's what I'm saying. Not all people on those apps are going to be a him, right? But that's just him on my show, right? Nothing else, nothing further. But that would be a man that I wouldn't mind furthering a conversation with, whether it went that way or this way, right? And if he was a man that required silence, I could see myself being quiet for that. Right?
I see what you're saying. I see exactly what you're saying. You know what? I learned so much when I talk to you. You're a smart motherfucker, boy. You're right. You're right. So what you're saying is, and you're exactly right. If the woman sees enough value in giving you what you want, she'll do it.
She will submit naturally.
Yep.
Naturally. We submit naturally.
So see what that means to me is, I'm not going to put I require quiet, because I don't have to. Because if she vibes with me, she's going to give it to me no how. You know, like my sisters and my mama, they know me like the back of their hands, man. They don't say nothing when I'm around. They bring me my food. They let me eat and talk to my brother. You don't hear my sister say nothing, okay? Because they just know the way I am. And then my brother's the same way too. So you're right. So you're right. So that helps me a lot, because you're right. I mean, if she vibes with you, it doesn't matter what your requirements are. She'll meet them. Right? Thank you very much.
And guess what? Vice versa.
Okay. My junk ain't soft no more. Thank you.
So that is it, and that is all. Again, this has been episode 4 of That's It, That's All, with my very special friend, my brother in love and in peace.
Mm-hmm.
We went through the same cohort together. It was amazing just getting to go through my degree with him. One of the amazing people that I got to meet through getting my master's in urban leadership. According to him, I'm not allowed to talk about that, but I'm going to always talk about it because it's mine and I work for it.
No, just don't lead with it. Just don't lead with it.
I don't have to listen. I took your advice, and guess what? Guess what it led to? Him still asking me for some money. Okay. So with that being said, that is it, and that is all. Any final remarks?
No, thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to do it. Hopefully you will come back and be a guest, and we can debate some more of these amazing topics, and then maybe we could get you out of your 1.6 mile radius.
No, you gave me a lot to think about in my online dating profile. It really helped me a lot. Thank you very much. Well,
let me know if you ever want to come back and just talk about that as well. You know, talk about your journey.
I do. Once I get to 10 dates, I want to come back on and talk to you about what I've discovered, because I'm new to online dating.
We could definitely set it up. So,
okay.
Again, as I always say, that is it, and that is our podcast with Alina. And again, to everyone listening and watching, have a blessed one.
Bye-bye.